Heidi ho neighbors, Radio Goji here, and welcome back to Let's Play Mega Man 5 again. When we last left off, we took out Starman and Gravity Man, and now we are going after Gyro Man, who's basically a helicopter guy. And I really like his design with the rotor blades and stuff. This is, I guess you could consider, I consider this one of the harder stages in the of the game, because we're up in the sky, so that means that there are going to be a lot of bottomless pits. And we don't have the rush jet because, surprise, surprise, this is the boss we actually get the rush jet from. I guess technically we could. You can use the super arrow. You can step on the super arrow in mid-flight and use that kind of as like a backup rush jet, but it's mainly meant to stick to walls. And I don't trust myself enough with the controls to use the rush jet in such a fashion, or not the rush jet, the super arrow in such a fashion. Also, there's going to be a lot of those enemies that just like they're kind of there, and then they go toward you, and then stop, and then go toward you, and then stop, and they stop in like a hard to hit position, and then they just keep running into you over and over again. There's a lot of those in this game. We saw the basically the space met tools in Starman stage, and we're going to be seeing those orb thingies. We also saw those in Gravity Man stage a little bit. These guys as well, we're going to see them a lot. These are like one of those ones that just steadily fly towards you, but are really in kind of an unhittable position until they're really close to you. I mean, if you're good enough, you can get them before they can hit you, but there will be a lot of times where they're just going to annoy you. Also, there's a lot of enemies that once they get off the screen, and they can basically scroll back onto the screen, like these chicken guys who send the eggs toward you. And I think that's what they were planning on doing with that 1-up, was making it harder for you to get at it. Also, enemies respawning again. And this is a very good example of them being in a... It's usually with these guys, the angle they come at you at. Because there's no way that you'd be able to hit them until they're right on top of you. And then when they're right on top of you, you shoot forward, so you can't hit them anyway. And then they just keep hovering over you until you die. More of these guys. I find those steadily moving guys a little harder to take out than the ones that basically pause in place. And this guy. What Mega Man game would be complete without stomping enemies? And I know it sounds like I'm complaining, but I'm really not. These guys will drop on you. And this is, we're basically just past the checkpoint. This is one of the harder parts. You have to pretty much keep moving. You pretty much have to sacrifice yourself if you want to get that A down there. But there is the whole thing with frame rates while recording and stuff like that that may hinder me from doing this part particularly well. I remember sliding as well to dodge the bad guys. I more or less died. I was trying to get out of there, but I knew I was going to die there. So that was, I guess you could say, on purpose. I only have a couple of lives left, so now I got to be careful because I don't want to start the whole level over. That's never fun. And now we have the Elevator of Death. Oh boy, I love these. I lied. Oh, well, I did better than I normally do. Usually with those things, as you can see, I like to jump onto the next platform so that I can start running so I don't get crushed, but more often than not, there are spikes directly above where I want to jump to, so that does make things a little harder. I think we're pretty much home free as far as the level's concerned, though. I mean, if I don't get shot to death by enemies. But, oh yeah, there's the exit right there. Now, of course, the bad guys don't have Dr. W symbols over them because it looks like, as you saw in the introduction, looks like Proto Man's behind it this time. And Proto Man's supposed to be kind of a good guy. his allegiance really wasn't overly explored much at this point in the story. Gyro Man's fairly easy. Dodges attack. You slide out of the way, and then and then he'll throw a fast one on you, attack you directly, and then cause you to panic as you only have one hit left. Gravity holds his weakness, as you saw. The gravity doesn't really affect bosses. So all it did was it was like just like blinking, and that was pretty much it with that. But normally it will affect enemies by making them like fly off the top of the screen, basically. We got gyro attack, which is a little propeller thing he shot. Once it's in flight, you can push up or down to change its direction up or down. Like, it's basically a 90-degree angle. We also got Rush Jet, but that's of little comfort, seeing as the Rush Jet isn't very good in this game. And I've forgotten my weakness order. Okay, I got it now. It's Crystal Man next. Alright. Crystal Man's stage looks like an ice level, but it's really not. This is not really ice, it's just crystal. So you don't have to worry about slipping around. I don't think there are any ice levels in this game, which is actually kind of a relief. Wave Man's stage is sort of a water level, but not by much, I guess you could say. I don't really know how to classify it. Also, I don't know what those things in the back are meant to be. Maybe they're meant to be like crystal harvester things. I always thought they looked like AT-ATs from Star Wars. That's like the first thing that came to mind when I was a kid. Those look like AT-ATs. I know they're not really AT-ATs because that would not be kosher with the copyright stuff. This part's pretty hard, actually. You have to get the timing of the crystals down. And they're really hard to time because they have like more than one pattern that goes down. Like this one's eventually going to have like a bunch of them drop like that. And if you don't get the pattern down, well, you're screwed. Because that's a bottomless pit if you didn't put 2 and 2 together. They never put these things over not bottomless pits. Except for maybe those drill things in Metal Man stage of Mega Man 2. But these patterns, I've always found these really hard to figure out. I usually wait until there's like a long pause, and then I'm like, oh, this is a long pause, and then I go, and then the crystal hits me on the way down. So, that's one of the things I don't like about this level, is those crystal things, and that's not the first time we'll see them. Hey, Eddie. I remember I never used to really like Eddie much because he would always give me... He usually gives me stuff that I don't really need. Like, he'll just, like, show up and then it's like, oh, okay, here's a weapon refill. And I'm like, I didn't use any weapons. Well, so there really aren't a lot of weapons in this game that you can kind of use as supplementary weapons. Like the Metal Blade from Mega Man 2. So this is basically just one of those games where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go through with the Mega Buster and then use whatever weakness on the boss. And I do that a lot in Mega Man games. I've been trying not to do that because, you know, they put these weapons in for a reason. I want to use the weapons. And Mega Man 2, I've been using the Metal Blade a lot more because, you know, Metal Blade is just really, really useful. It's like the Thunder Beam in Mega Man 1. They're really, really useful items because they don't take up a lot of energy to use. And they're like multi-directional. That hit me into a pit because I thought that was a long pause, and it wasn't. And now I have to start over from the beginning. Yay. I almost forgot that the checkpoint is actually after the end of a long drop. A long drop which contains a letter I need. So I may not... I may be trying to get the letter off screen, if anything, because you can come back to the levels after you're done with them. I think Mega Man 4 was the first one to do that, because Mega Man 4 was the first... Mega Man 4 was the first game where you had hidden items that you could find. So that was the first game, I believe, that you could actually go back. No, okay, I told a lie. Mega Man 1, you could go back into the stages, although there was no real need to. Unless you missed the Magnet Beam in Elecman stage, which you actually do need to clear the game. The only downside is that there's no way to escape from the level, and in Mega Man 1, you had to beat the boss again. In 4 through 6, there was no way that you could just escape the level after you went in, but you didn't have to beat the boss again. Once you got to the end, it would just, like, teleport you out. So the timing on this is... I don't want to say it's random, but it certainly feels like it. I have no idea what these crystals are going to do, and it's really hard to gauge. So I just did, like, 1, 1, and then did, like, 1, 2, 3. And that's why I don't like this stage very much. I think I could Rush Jet this, but Rush won't catch you in this game. I think you could just easily get knocked off the Rush Jet. If it doesn't work, if I die here, I'll try Rush Jet next time and see how well that works, because I don't think it will. I seriously think that they should have just kept Rush Jet the way it was in Mega Man 3, because it was very, very useful. If you jumped, Rush would basically stay under you. And, you know, they could just change it so that... Twice in a row it did that. Twice in a row. Freaking hate this stage. I freaking hate it now. Ugh. However, as I said before, if you do lose a life, you don't get any weapon energy back. But if you get a game over and continue, you do get your weapon energy back. So that's always nice. Hooray! Okay, now we're back at this part. I'm gonna try rush jetting this time. I can only I'm just kind of doing it as an experiment. I can only assume that horrible, horrible things will happen. Because Rush Jet is absolutely rubbish. I should call it Rubbish Jet. Yep, see, you just fall off and he just keeps going forward like an idiot. And that's the kind of platforming section I would normally save Rush Jet for. I mean, sure, I would get hurt, but I wouldn't fall down the pit and die instantly. You know, that's why I took the kind of route that I did in Mega Man 3. I usually don't go into Sparkman or Magnet Man stage until I have the Rush Jet because I don't trust my platforming abilities. And I usually use Rush Marine in Gemini Man stage because I don't trust my platforming abilities. See, it dropped like 9 crystals there. I am convinced this is random now. This is absolutely ludicrous. Absoluticrous, if you will. I think somebody else said absoluticrous before me. I think it was Sean Baby. I apologize to Sean Baby. I don't think he watches my video anyway. I don't think he really does much on the internet anymore. Like, he gets, like, some kind of internet thing, then stops doing it after a while, then starts doing it again after a few years, and... I was visiting his website quite a bit, I think like a year or two ago, and he wasn't really doing much with the actual website at that time, but he was doing a lot of... He had like a blog on crack.com, and I went back to his website fairly recently, and the last blog entry from Cracked was over a year ago, so... You know, when you have your interests shift toward whatever, you tend to do that. But, you know, whatever. And this is starting to not make me happy right now. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here, and when we come back, hopefully Crystal Man's stage will be in a more beatable state. I've been Rado Goji, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?